The last time you guys saw me, I was deep into the hurt locker. The Brighton Marathon was some of the pain, the emotional trauma was a different level. But all joking aside, it was amazing. It was one of the greatest achievements I've ever achieved, and I would definitely recommend it. I just wanted to chat about how it went and why I've got zero regrets about what happened and how I ran it. So first of all, it's an amazing event. It's one of the UK's big marathons to run. Obviously I can't say that with too much weight behind it because I've only run one, but I know it's not far behind Manchester and London in terms of its support, and I think there were about 12,000 people that ran it on the day. So there's some pretty big numbers. It's the biggest race, the biggest event I've ever been part of, and it was just wonderful to feel a part of that. I finished in 4 hours 22, which was 8 minutes into my well, I wanted to finish sub 4:30, which I did. Everyone was telling me the whole time that I was going to go 3:30, 3:45, or at least sub 4, but I knew my body. I just knew it. I knew that I didn't have the strength to get me over the line in those times, because the second half of the race, I just didn't have the strength. So next time I train for a marathon, it's going to be more strength orientated. They're going to be longer. There's going to be more long runs, longer long runs. Some of my longest runs were 15 miles. I think I did 18 twice and 1:15. Everything was a half marathon or below. So obviously the training wasn't quite there. Really, I probably should have trained a lot, but that's life. January, February, March, even December was going really well. But then March came and just life happened. I got married. We had a honeymoon. I just couldn't train like I really needed to. So I had to just smash and grab runs and train when I could. And I had a few races in there as well. And it sounds like I'm making excuses. I'm really not. It's just the way it happened. But anyway, let me talk about the actual race itself. So on the day, I decided not to wear a hydration vest. I thought I'd just go and just take advantage of the nutrition and the water that was on the course. Well, not the gels. I'll talk about them in a minute. The water, I'm glad I didn't use a vest, in all honesty, because I can't run with a vest. I've tried it a few times. Maybe it's the vest I've got, but I just don't enjoy it. I just don't like the feeling of it rubbing on my shoulders. I don't like the weight of it. I'd much rather just drink small and often when I'm going around the course, and that's just a personal choice, which may change, which may evolve as my running journey, as it goes on. But I chose to do that, and what I found was when I got to around about 30k and beyond, I must have been so dehydrated because I took advantage of every water stop that was on offer, because I just felt so thirsty. And that, I don't know if without those aid stations there, I would have really struggled. So if that was a training run, for example, I could have been in trouble. So I don't know if that's because I didn't drink enough water earlier on in the race, the night before, the morning, I don't know. But that's just the way it worked. And I needed 2 glasses or 2 gulps of water on each aid station. By the way, in Brighton, they give you a cup of water, which is next to useless, because you drink and you feel like you either choke to death or 90% of it goes all over you or all over the floor. But it's environmentally friendly, so yeah, tough one for the race to deal with that. But that was just the way it worked for me. I probably could have hydrated better, but my body just needed water so badly towards the end of the race, and I had to keep stopping and slowing right down to make sure I took on all those fluids. Gels, I took 3 gels during the race at 15k, 25k and 35k. Energy wise, I felt all right. I actually felt quite good, though the gel I took after the halfway point, or soon after the halfway point, I felt like I needed it. And I remember the 4-hour pacer behind me, because I got ahead of the 4-hour pacer for a while. I remember him saying, if you feel like you need a gel or you need some water, it's probably too late. So I remember thinking at that point, I need to take a gel really soon. And I didn't actually take it until 25. It turned out to be not the worst decision, could have been worse. Maybe I should have taken a gel at 15 or 10k. But again, this is all hindsight, and this is all experience that I can take into the next one. What else? Breakfast. So I started off the day, of course, with the runner's breakfast of choice. I had a peanut butter bagel. I didn't want to bloat myself or overeat, so I just had one bagel. And that's about it. I think I had a protein bar on the walk to Preston Park, which is about a 2 kilometre walk, 2 or 3k walk from where we stayed in Hove, which went down a treat, which went down well. I never felt bloated during the run. So the water side of things was where I struggled, not with the energy, if that makes sense, because I know they're similar or they're the same thing. But I'm glad I didn't overeat as well, because sometimes I've overeaten the night before and on the morning, and it's felt awful. I've had tummy problems, which I didn't get. So I've got that to be thankful for. Sun cream. Now I'm glad that I applied sun cream. It was about 8 or 9 degrees on the day. And there was a bit of a chill in the air, but it was nice in the sun, cold in the shade, cold in the breeze. So many people have got really badly burnt from that day. You're by the sea, it's lethal. The UV rays, when they're out in full force in this country, are lethal. So it was a reminder to me to just keep applying sun cream. Maybe even 12 months of the year, because it's dangerous. Being exposed, as a distance runner, being exposed to the elements for that long, you are asking for trouble if you don't apply sun cream. So my top tip would be slap on that sun cream, because you're going to need it. So I hit the wall. I bonked quite hard, if you've seen the video, at 30k. I knew I would, because I'd never run any further than that. I just feel like I just hadn't got enough strength training in my legs. And I knew that going in. I knew that was going to happen. And this is potentially really bad race advice. Well, no, it's not even advice. But I'm glad that I banked the time earlier on in the marathon, because I knew if I'd have done 7-minute kilometres, if I'd have basically walked at 8-minute kilometres earlier on in the race, I still would have hit that wall really hard. So I'm glad that I kept to a 4-hour pace for 22 kilometres and then slowed down, because essentially it would have happened to me either way. So I'm glad I banked the time, because I could have ended up finishing that marathon in 6 hours if I'd have run really conservatively at the start and then still hit the wall. But who knows? That's hindsight. Maybe I would have done negative splits. I don't know. Very doubtful, but I could have done it. Again, this is a first-time marathon experience. So, and also a relatively inexperienced runner's experience as well. So please don't take everything I say as gospel, or anything I say as gospel. It's just purely my experience. One thing I did want to mention was the euphoria that I experienced at the finish line. That was like nothing I'd ever experienced. Tell you what killed me: seeing the sort of pop-up blow-up tent at 41k that I thought was the finish line. Just after I saw Laura, I thought that was the finish line. It wasn't. So it was another kilometre to go. But then just seeing the words finish, I just teared up. I couldn't believe it. I'd never had that before. I just felt overwhelmed with emotion, and it was an amazing feeling, to be honest. It was just a real feeling of just overwhelming happiness, really, that I'd managed to get through it and do it, put my body through all that hardship over, not just over that morning, but over the last 16 weeks actually. So it almost felt like a relief, like that. It was a weight lifted from my shoulders, and it was an amazing feeling, and yeah, one that will stay with me for the rest of my life. Afterwards, I went to see the doctor. So we were stumbling home through the race village, and I said to Laura, I said, I don't feel well. I was slurring my words. It was like I was drunk. And I just felt wobbly on my feet. I'd committed that cardinal sin of lying down on the beach, because I waited for Laura. Because of the race village, it was difficult to find each other, and there was no way I was going running after her. So she came to find me. The signal in Brighton Beach for some reason was rubbish, so I couldn't tell her exactly where I was. So there was a bit of a miscommunication there. And she came over to me and saw when I was lying down, and then got me up. She literally had to pick me up. And then, yeah, as we were walking down, it just felt really super wobbly walking down the boardwalk, down through the race village. And I saw the St John's ambulance team, and I just sort of said, do you mind if you just have a look at me and just check I'm all right? And they just said, come and sit down. So they wheeled out a wheelchair, which straight away just made me feel super guilty that I was taking that away from somebody else. And they said, before we strap you up with heart monitors and this, that and the other, we'll just see how you go. We'll just observe you for 5 minutes. And I sat down, and that was all I needed. Not a lie down or a walk. It was a sit down. I needed to stay vertical, but just rest my legs. And then after 5 to 10 minutes, I just said to the doctors, I said, I'm absolutely fine. I'm going to be fine. I just needed a sit down, not a lie down. Got up, and then I felt as good as you can possibly feel after having run 42k. And then we walked home, and the legs are feeling good, to be honest. Now it's been, 7-8 days? It's Tuesday today, so 9 days. Feeling good. I haven't been for a single run, and the legs, yeah, they do feel good, and I feel like I'm ready for the next challenge now. I really wanted to make sure that I rested and recovered, and for me that meant just doing nothing, just taking any stress away from my legs. Obviously I've had to work, but apart from that, I've done no running, no long walks, no nothing, and it's just been really, really nice. Again, I'll do things really differently after my next marathon, because I'm 100% signing up for another one. What that will be, I don't quite know yet. And when that will be, I don't quite know. But what I can tell you is what's next. So in 2 weeks, just under 2 weeks, on the 1st of May, I'm doing the Birmingham half marathon. And 2 weeks after that, I'm doing the Tewkesbury half marathon. So I've got 2 halves to look forward to. I love a half marathon distance. As you probably know, I ran 2 halves just before Brighton. One of them was a PB, 1:45. So I'm really hopeful that I can get close to that time. Whether I'll beat it, I don't know, because I felt like I was at the peak then of my training. New shoe mentality as well with my endorphin speed too, so that's probably why I ran so well that day. If I can get close to that time, I'll be happy as Larry. If I don't, it's just a run. It's not the end of the world. I've been watching someone who you may watch as well, Matt Runs 18, I think his Instagram handle is. He's also on YouTube. He's just an all-round brilliant bloke. He's a great runner, and he's got NASA level technology, ideas about heart rate and stuff, which is great to listen to. And yeah, his ethos is it's running. It's not the end of the world. It doesn't matter. There's always another one. If it doesn't go well, get back up, give it another go. And that's very much the way that I'm starting to look at things. You know, you can be disappointed if you want, but is that counterproductive? I think it probably is, because you should be encouraging yourself and you should be proud of what you actually have achieved. So obviously, a 4 hour 22 marathon, it's not the quickest, and it's certainly not the slowest. So I've got to be careful that I don't sound too disappointed finishing in 4:22, because people finished after that. For me, I know where I can improve, and that's the second half of a marathon. I know I can run that a lot quicker. Maybe I can't. Maybe I can't. I don't know. But I do know for sure that when I train for another marathon, I'll train differently. I'll put more emphasis on the long runs there, and maybe I can run like Chris from Here We Are Running, who negative splitted a marathon, which is magnificent. What an achievement for you, Chris. So I'm made up for you that it went so well for you. But yeah, 0 regrets with how I ran my marathon. 0 regrets. It went how it went, and it was just magnificent. It was a brilliant experience. And if you're running your first marathon, my advice to you would be exactly the same as what I've been trying to say this whole time. Just have fun. Just enjoy it. It's an amazing achievement to just get to that start line. If you've done a huge amount of training, just go and enjoy your victory lap, because it's a huge thing to run a marathon. not many people of your friends and family will have done it. And I'm sure once you do it, you'll probably be feeling how I am and you'll want to run more. So on that note, I want to say thanks for watching. And yeah, I did it. I'm a marathoner. And let me know which marathons you think I should run next, whether they're in the UK or they're international. I'm listening. I'm here for the marathons. So cheers, and I'll see you on the next one. Ta-da.
You don't ever wanna see